Very good evening to everyone. Welcome to this webinar. We have recently released our 7.5 version for DS Lab, and we just wanted to give a quick demo of the newly added features. So I will start with the presentation. Uh, the people who had attended the webinar for the 7.0 release last time, they would have recalled that I had shared a high-level roadmap with the audience, and these were the features that we had envisioned at that time, and we had given a commitment to release these features, uh, such as shared projects and notebooks, PyTorch and TensorFlow Keras models publishing to pipeline, publishing notebooks from DS Lab as a custom component to pipeline, ability to include algorithms as boilerplate code, GPU support, utility scripts to be enabled, and AutoML. So out of these, we have accomplished all of them, and AutoML is a feature which we are currently working on. So I would be briefly talking about all the features that we have released in 7.5 version, and I would also be showing you a demo, a brief demo of these features in DS Lab. So once again, this is just a brief list and a very brief description of the features that we have released. So we have released all of the features we had committed in the roadmap for 7.0. So we have released share projects and notebooks, registering of Keras models to pipeline, registering of PyTorch models to pipeline, and we also have enabled the inferencing capability of Keras models in pipeline. The Keras and PyTorch models can also be uh, registered for inferencing via model as an API. And we are also able to export scripts into pipeline. We also have provided the ability to include utility scripts in our notebooks. We just have to upload the utility scripts in DS Lab and we can consume them in our notebook. We have enabled GPU support as well, and we are able to uh, reduce the training times for computer vision and NLP related experiments drastically. So they take very less time now when training on GPU. So we are able to do that. So we have also provided boilerplate code for regression and classification family of algorithms, and that is quite an exhaustive list. And this will enable the data science professionals to easily, on the click of a button, uh, get the boilerplate code, and just making a few changes, they would be able to run their experimentation without trying to figure out uh, how to write the code and the different complexities that are usually involved with writing data science code. We have also enabled data profiling for data sets. Uh, it's similar to, for those who are working in the data science field, they might have come across pandas profiling. So this is something similar to that. And we have enabled this for data sets. We also have included the feature for data transformation. So many who work in the field of data science, they would understand that many times it is required to transform the data uh, before sending it to the model for training. And we have included the ability to not only transform the data, but also to save the object, the transformation object, whether it is a min-max scalar or a standard scalar, as a pickle file. And this pickle file can then be exported to pipeline and can be used while we are inferencing for that particular DS experiment that needs transformation, data transformation. So as we know, we would train the uh, we will train the data while we'll transform the data while we are doing the training. And once we go to the inference phase, whatever incoming data we get, we will be transforming that as well. And that we can do very easily by the data transformation object in pipeline. So I'll be showing you that as well. Then we have secret management. Secret management is nothing but the encrypting of the secret or confidential information or login details when somebody wants to connect to an AWS or Azure blob using the credentials and the secret key, and or even for that matter, MongoDB. And this is something that we have enabled so that users can use environment variables instead of the hard coding these secret keys into the DS notebook. So this is a brief GIF of the share projects feature. So the DS Lab projects can be shared across users or user groups, and they should be within the same space only. And while sharing the projects, the data sets and utility scripts and notebooks, everything associated with a particular project will be shared to the user or a particular user group. So this is what we need to keep in mind. Then we can also share notebooks across different users. So DS Lab notebooks can be shared to, again, users or user groups within the same space. And while sharing the notebook, the parent project will also get shared. So this is also something that we need to keep in mind. And this PPT will be shared with you so that you can just see, this GIF, and you'll get idea about how this feature actually looks like. I'll be showing it, but you can go through the GIF as well. And Keras models can be registered to pipeline. So initially in 7.0 release, we had mentioned that sklearn models only can be published to pipeline. And in 7.5 release, we have enabled Keras models as well as Pytorch models. They can be registered or published to pipeline. So Keras models can be trained and saved within the DS Lab notebook, and the model can be published to or registered into pipeline. Then using the DS Lab script runner, the test data can be ingested and the registered model can be inferenced in pipeline via DS Lab model runner. So I'll be showing this in the demo so that you'll get more idea. And the registering of Keras or Pytorch models is absolutely similar to how we did for sklearn models. So I'll be showing you that in the demo as well. So this is again a similar thing. We have also enabled registering or publishing of Pytorch models to pipeline. So Pytorch models can be trained and saved inside the DS Lab notebook, and the models can be registered to pipeline as well. So as mentioned in the previous slide, we can use a DS Lab script runner to ingest the test data, and then we can use the registered model in the pipeline via DS Lab model runner. So I just wanted to add here that the inferencing of PyTorch model in pipeline, this is a work in progress. So this is something which is not released as of now. So this is still a work in progress, but hopefully it will be uh, completed soon, and we will be releasing the inferencing of PyTorch models in pipeline as well. So this is how the Keras models can be inferenced in pipeline. So Keras models, as I have discussed previously, we train them and save them in DS Lab notebook, and then we publish or register them to pipeline. And we can then ingest the data from the Python script runner, and then we can use the DS Lab model runner to load the Keras model and inference the uh, and run the inference step to serve the predictions. So the Keras and Pytorch models can be inferenced as an API. So if you remember in the last webinar, we had discussed about how sklearn models, pickle files can be used as model as an API. And we had given a demo of the same. So this time we have also enabled Keras and PyTorch models to be used as a model as an API, and they can provide inference with the help of model as an API feature. So we can these models, the Keras and the PyTorch models, they can be registered as API, and the API client can be registered uh, on top of that. Then the header values and post request URL can be configured in a new postman request along with the test data body. While sending the request, the desired outputs will, with predictions, will come as API response. So I'll be showing this in the demo, and this will be similar, exactly similar to what we had seen in case of sklearn models being served as model as an API. This is a new feature, exporting custom script to pipeline. This is quite an interesting feature in the sense that all this while I have been talking about uh, exporting or rather registering or publishing models to pipeline. But here we are talking about exporting custom Python script to pipeline. So there can be instances wherein data scientists are working on a piece of notebook, on a piece of experiment and creating a notebook. And there they might uh, feel the need to export the code to pipeline, and this feature enables them to do so. And this can be as a precursor in order to understand how the data ingestion and how the inferencing might look like. So they might want to do a sort of an experimentation before actually implementing their experiment in production. So this is a very cool feature. So I'll be showing you how to do this. And as mentioned that these custom scripts can be created in DS Lab, and they can be exported to pipeline. And we will be using along with the model runner, the DS Lab runner will have the script runner also in the pipeline. So I'll show you, it will make much more sense when once you see it. And the exported script can be consumed in script runner, and it will produce the output in the out event. So once I show this, it will be much more clear. Last time we had mentioned that we have the utility script utility module. So we have now enabled the utility tab wherein you can upload any utility Python script.py, and these scripts are editable. You can edit them as well, and you can then use these scripts. You can import them in your notebooks in DS Lab. So this is a very handy tool. Many times there are certain functionalities which are used repetitively. And instead of writing the code again and again in different notebooks, we can write it once in a .py file, and we can import it in the DS Lab notebook each time with just a single line of code. So this reduces repetitive coding and it reduces the redundancy. So last time we had mentioned about enabling GPU support. We have done that in this release. We have been using a GPU from NVIDIA, and we have tested the GPU capability on computer vision use cases as well as NLP use cases using both TensorFlow and PyTorch. And we have found that the results of the training process is greatly reduced in terms of time it takes to train a particular model for computer vision or NLP use case compared to how much time it takes for training a model in Google Colab. So we have been able to achieve a lot of saving in terms of saving the time in terms of training the models using GPU for computer vision and NLP use cases. So how do we enable the GPU? So we have two levels of settings that need to be changed. So we have to tweak the settings in the admin level for notebook settings, and we have to select the type of GPU that we want, whether it's AMD machine or a NVIDIA machine. So once we have given those options, then we have to go to the project level, and at the project level we can select whether the GPU is NVIDIA or AMD, and we can also select the number of GPU machines we need, whether it's one or two. So at the moment we are providing support for mostly two GPU machines at a time and not more than that. This is the feature that I had briefly talked about last time as well. So we have enabled the integration of boilerplate code in DS Lab. This is a very handy feature for upcoming data scientists, people who have started newly in the world of data science and writing algorithms related to regression or classification might seem to be a daunting task, but not anymore. You can just click on a particular algorithm that you want to make use of for the algorithm pasted in the notebook cell, and you just need to tweak in the input and the output, and you will be up and running with your experimentation. So this is a very handy feature, and people who are new to data science, they'll appreciate this, and people who are veterans in the field of data science, they'll also appreciate because it saves their time. Data profiling, as I mentioned, is a feature very similar to Pandas profiling, and it gives a complete profile of a particular data set, and it has a lot of charts as well that people can make use of, and this is something which gives a very quick insight to the health of a data set and what level of data transformation is required. So if you just want to take a glance and get a feel of how much work is required for a particular data set, what is the health of a data set, how good it is or how bad it is before it can actually be utilized in a particular model. So all of that will be available in this feature of data profiling. So we'll take a look at this also in the demo. Data transformation, as I mentioned previously, this is a feature which is very often used by data scientists because the data that we get from the different sources are not palatable for the model. The data has to be transformed and made palatable for the model. So there are several techniques that data scientists use as a pre-processing or data transformation method. So what we have done is we have enabled the saving of these data transformation objects as pickle files. And just like we register or publish Keras or PyTorch or sklearn models to pipeline, we have also enabled the publishing of these data pre-processing or transformation objects to pipeline. And the same can be used just before inferencing. So this is very important because if we have trained our model on transformed data, so once we are going to do the inferencing on the real life data, so we would be transforming that data as well before we feed it to the model for inferencing. So this feature is also something that has been enabled, and I'll show you this in the demo. So as I mentioned, secret management is nothing but the usage of environment variables rather than hard coding of the actual secret, the key, the public key and the private key in your DS notebook, and hard coding them so that there is no compromise as far as security is concerned when you're trying to access, say, AWS or Azure Blob or MongoDB or any other database that requires authentication or with credentials that has been provided to you. So this is another feature that is very helpful in trying to ensure security. So with that, I'll just go to the uh, demo part. So I'll just log in here. So as you know, the last time we had told you that you come to the main menu and you can just click on DS Lab and you'll be taken to the DS Lab screen. And I am in the production environment right now. So it takes a bit of time for the Kubernetes pods to, fire up. And once that is done, we'll be able to use the project and the notebooks. So my project was I just wanted to deactivate and activate it again. So I would just like to show you probably start with the registering of Keras models to pipeline. So if I can go here, so this is one notebook which I had created, a couple of days ago. So in this notebook, what I'm doing is this is a simple machine learning use case. And I just have to predict whether based upon the different predictor variables, whether a person is diabetic or not. And I believe this use case was the one which I had shown in the demo for webinar in the previous webinar. And that was with just a simple sklearn algorithm. Now here I am using a Keras model instead of sklearn. So you can see that I'm using Keras and I'm creating a Keras model here. So I am also doing a model.fit and I'm also then saving this model. Now you can see that I have saved this model and I have given it a name, Keras ML July 07. And once I save this model, so this model can get listed here. So once I have saved the model, it will usually list in the unregistered list of models. But because I have already registered this model, so what I'll do is I'll just run through this quickly. So I'm just executing the cells. I'm compiling the model now. Uh, and as you can see, the model.fit, the training process is in progress and the training process is completed. Now I'll just check the accuracy as well. So this is a simple experiment. So I am not bothered about the accuracy of this model. So I'll just change the name of the model here and then I'll run this step. Now with this step, I'm saving the model which I just trained. So the name of the model is nothing but model. This is the object. So this object is the one which I am referring to here as model, and I'm giving it some name using which it will be stored in the disk space. So now if I refresh my models tab, you will see that I have Keras ML July 08.h5. So what I can do is I will load this model now. So in order to load from the previous webinar, you know that I just have to click on this and I have to run this. So now the model is loaded and I'll delete this because this was an old cell referring to the previous model. Now what I can do is I can also register this model. So in order to register this Keras model, I just have to click on this register icon. So once I have clicked this, it will give me a pop-up. I'll say yes. So now you can see that model is no longer available in the list of unregistered models, and it will be listed in the list of registered models. So you can see this is Keras ML July 08.h5. So once I have this, I have loaded the model already. I have registered it also to pipeline, so I can serve the predictions and I can just conclude this experimentation here. And with this, my experimentation is completed. I'll save the notebook. And now what I can do is I can go to the pipeline. So once I have saved my, once I have registered the model to pipeline, I can immediately go to pipeline and using the same model, this model Keras ML July 8, I can do my inferencing in pipeline. So I'll go to pipeline. And you can see that I had yesterday created Keras ML pipeline. So this pipeline, is the one which I'll be using now. So I'm just opening this pipeline and I'll just briefly explain what are these components. So this is the component using which we'll ingest the data, and I will show you. This is the script for ingesting the data. So this is nothing but I am taking the data from this URL and I'm using it as a data frame. So this is as simple as that. So you can use any technique to ingest the data. So using this first component, I'm ingesting the data, and this is the second component, and this is the DS Lab runner. So for example, I'll show you this first component comes from this tab, which is scripting. So I just have to drag and drop it here. And this is how this comes, and then I can just modify it, modify the details. I can just give the invocation type as real time. So in the first screen, first tab, this is all I have to give in the basic information. And in meta information, I just have to mention the component name. I have to give the script which I showed you just now. This script I have to make, and I have to give the function, which is the starting function. So this function is nothing but I have to mention it in the script using which the actual processing will start. And I have to mention whether the output will be data frame or whether it will be a list. So this is how it is. And then this is the second component, which is the actually the DS Lab runner. So you can see this component here. This is the DS Lab runner component. So if you just click on it, it has very minimal information required from the user side. So again, you can just mention real time or batch. So we are doing real time. And in the meta information, you need to mention whether it is a model runner or a script runner. So when do we mention script runner? So I had told you about exporting the code from DS Lab, exporting the code and not the model. So in that case, we'll be using script runner. I'll show you that. But right now we have exported the Keras model, H5 model. So that's why I'm using the model runner component here. And I just have to mention the project in which my notebook is. So this is the project. This is project sales. This is where my notebook is. This is what I have mentioned, and I will mention the model which I have actually registered or published to pipeline. So today I have registered July 08. So this is how you can choose, you can fill in the details, and then you can save the pipeline and you can run it. So if you want, I can run this, but this will take some time. So let me save this component and I can update the pipeline and I can run this as well. So this pipeline is running now, and once the pipeline is run, we'll probably come back and we'll take a look at the output. So in the meantime, I'll continue with the other part of the demo, which I can show you in DS Lab itself. Uh, okay, so the other part of the demo that I would like to show you would be uh, API registration. So I can go to admin. So before that, let me just tell you that I had created a notebook. I had created this notebook demo ML Keras ML model. So in this notebook, I created a Keras model and I published that to pipeline. So once I'm done, I can just go back and what I wanted to show you after that was how the registered model in pipeline is being used to inference data. So this pipeline is already running. And in the meanwhile, I just want to go here and I want to show you how this model can be used as model as an API. So you can see I was in the notebook tab and now I came to the model tab. In the model tab, I have this newly created model, Keras ML July 8.h5, and here is the option to register it as an API. So I will click this and I'll update some of the details here, minimum instances and maximum instances, and I'll say save and register. So once I do save and register, now this model will get registered as an API. The other thing that I need to do is I need to go to the admin option. I need to click on the three lines and I have to click on API client registration. So once I have clicked on this, I have created certain clients here already. So I will be using an already existing API client. And what I can do is I can just choose the model that I created newly today. So I will choose this model, Keras ML July 8, and I will save this. So what I can do is I can now go to Postman, and in Postman I can go to this uh, uh, collection, and here what I can do is I can change the model name which I have saved today. And with all the other details remaining same because I'm using an already existing client with the client secret and app name, I can just make sure that the body or the input data that I'm providing is in the correct format. And once that is ascertained, I can just click on send and you can see that I got the output. So the output is that it gives a prediction value here. So this is the output of the Keras model. So you can see that in the previous webinar, we had demonstrated how sklearn models can be used as an API. And in this one, we have shown how we can use Keras models as an API. And in a very similar manner, exactly the similar manner, you can use the Pytorch model as an API as well. So now we can go to the pipeline and probably just check whether our pipeline has uh, completed execution or not. And I think it is still executing. So this might take some time. You can see that the output is coming. And yeah, so the output is there. So you can see that the prediction values are there. So we have successfully completed the inferencing part of the Keras model in pipeline as well. So this is how we do it. And you can see how simple it is, how fast it is, and how seamless it is. So I'll just deactivate this pipeline. So for the next part, I would like to show you how do we export uh, code to pipeline. So this is something that I had mentioned, exporting a code or script to pipeline. So let me just show you that. Uh, I'll again go into my project and this. So this is a very simple DS experiment in which I'm just reading a data set, and for people who are familiar with Kaggle competition, so this is the famous Titanic data set, and it wants us to predict whether a passenger has survived or not. So there's a very small notebook, and I can just quickly run this also. So I have created this notebook for showing how to uh, actually demonstrate the feature of exporting code to pipeline. So what I can do is I can just put it here. Okay. So this, as I mentioned, this is a very simple notebook. The idea is not to focus on the accuracy of the predictions, but rather how do we do this, and what is the procedure, what are the steps involved. That is what we would like to see here. So I'll give it a new name and I will save it. So now I have saved this notebook, and I want to push this code to line. So you can see this is the name of the notebook which I saved just now, and I can click on this export to pipeline option. So I can select all the cells, or I can choose the cells that I want. So you can see that I'm choosing certain cells, maybe this cell and this cell. So one thing that we need to keep in mind is the cells which we want to export should be in the form of a function. So this is something that is a requirement. So it is uh, desirable that the cells that we are exporting have at least one function in them. So I can just click on next. And then here you can see a list of libraries which are prompted to us that we would like to export as well. So I'm doing that as well. So now I click on export and it got exported to pipeline. I'll come to pipeline now, and I already have a list of pipelines available to me. And one such pipeline is logistic regression. So this is the pipeline which is going to use the code that I have exported here. So please bear in mind that I have not exported any model. I have exported chunks of code. So you might remember from the a little while ago that I had mentioned that we need to pull in this DS Lab runner component in order to run the models. But this component is also useful when I want to run certain scripts. So if you remember, I had shown you the option that it has the option of model runner as well as script runner. So by default, now I have chosen it to be script runner for this pipeline, and I have used list as an output, and I have also used the same project for sales, in which my notebook is there. So this is the project which contains my notebook logistic regression, and this is the code. So just now I have exported this code over here. So this is the code. So you can see the script that got exported. So this is the script that got exported, and this was the script that I had chosen. And that's it. And I can just mention the starting function from which the execution has to begin, and it is logistic regression. I'll save this component and I'll update the pipeline. And once this is updated, I'll just activate the pipeline. So while this process is going on, probably we can quickly go back to DS Lab, and I'll just show you another feature till the time this process uh, is ongoing. So I'll come to DS Lab, and the other feature that I would like to show you, you might be wondering that, the people who are already have a keen eye for detail, they might be wondering why is there a blue dot here, and why this project does not have any such blue dot. So the answer to this is simple. The project that I have been working with has been shared with me. So that is why it is a blue dot. So if I have any project, if I want to share it, and what I can do is I can probably activate this project first. So I'll activate this project, and I might want to create some notebook in this project. So let me create one notebook in this project. Okay, it takes a bit of time for the kernel to fire up. So I will create this notebook and I will share this project. So I'll show you both the options of sharing the notebook as well as the project. So I might want to say pandas or okay, and I'll just save this notebook. Maybe I don't want to give any name to it for the sake of simplicity. And then I have an option of actually sharing this notebook, and I also have an option of sharing the project. So if I want, I can share this notebook, and this is the list of users I can share it with, or there could be user group, people working in, say, the QA team or the testing team, or I don't, or data scientists. And you can also exclude certain users with whom, there might be in a user group 10 people, but out of 10 people, there might be a user with whom you don't want to share this. So you can do that using exclude user option. So suppose I want to share this with Sham. So I can share this. So now in Sham's DS Lab login, he would be seeing this notebook untitled, and the project that would be shared with him would be demo. I can also share a project. So I can come here. So this is the project name. I can share it. And if I want to share it with Sham again, then I can just share it with him. And in Shyam's login, DS Lab login, he will find this project demo in his list of projects. And this demo project will come with an icon or with a blue icon, which says that it is shared. So this is how simple it is to share projects and notebooks. And when I share a project with my colleague, I would be sharing not only notebooks, I would be sharing data sets, utilities, and models, everything. Right now, the sharing of model option has not been enabled, but it will be enabled in the subsequent release. So this is how we share the models, and I'll briefly come to the pipeline to check if the output has come from the export notebook. And yes, the output has come. So you can see I had exported a notebook, a logistic regression code, which tried to predict the people who survive on the Titanic. So you can see the accuracy score, and this is what I'm trying to display. So don't worry about the accuracy, because my purpose is not to make an accurate model, but to show you the steps involved in publishing the code from DS Lab notebook to pipeline. So we have achieved that, and this is how simple it is. Okay, after that, I would like to show you about boilerplate code, and let me go to DS Lab again. So I'll go to this project, and I have already created a notebook titled Demo Logistic Boilerplate. And we can see very simply how easily we can actually uh, list down the code that we want to use. So this is a simple experiment in which I'm using the abalone data set, and I want to do some experimentation on that. So I'm just reading the data set, checking the shape, doing a train test split, the data, there seems to be some problem. Is not defined. So I will do this here. Okay, so with this experimentation, now I want to use for this classification problem, maybe I want to make use of logistic regression, or I want to use a support vector machine classifier. So I can come here and I can click on the algorithms tab. So once I click on the algorithms tab, you can see two options are there, regression and classification. So regression has all these list of algorithms, linear regression, support vector regressor, random forest regressor, XGBoost regressor, CAT decision tree, KNN, gradient boosting machines. All of these are there as options. And for classification also, we have support vector classifier, K-neighbors, gradient boosting machines, logistic regression, decision tree, naive Bayes, random forest, XGBoost, and CAT boost. So I can just click on, say, for example, I might want to work with SVC. I'll just click on SVC, support vector classifier, and you can see the entire code gets populated. So you need not write so many lines of code. And what you need to do is you just need to probably change this train data, this input data, you just have to change this. And once you have changed this, you can run it. So I already have this step done here. So wherein you can see I have changed the input data for the data frame, and then I just need to run this, and that's it. So you can see how simple it is. We just need to make a change at one place and we run it, and that's it. So this is how easy it is to use boilerplate code. Otherwise, you can think of people who are working in data science for the first time to write all of this code for a particular algorithm. It could be quite daunting. And even for people who are veterans in the field of data science, this is something that makes their process, the experimentation process faster, saves them time, and makes them analyze things far quickly rather than focusing on the train and test splits. So this is how quickly we can do this experimentation. And if you want, we can save this as well. This can be saved, and this can be loaded, and we can get the predictions. So this is all something that we have seen previously in case of Keras models. So uh, there is nothing that we have not already seen. So I'm not going to go through this. So the only feature that I wanted to demonstrate here was just at the click of a button, how you can get all of these algorithms. So if you're not happy with SVC, you want to run, I don't know, decision tree classifier, just click on it. Sorry. So you have to click on the cell first and then click on this. You get the code for decision tree classifier. So you can just change the data frame name. You can just change the data frame name here, and you can just run this cell. So this is how simple it is. And this will really help you in faster experimentation. So apart from this, I wanted to show you about the utility script. So I can come out of the notebook tab and I can go to the utility tab. So you can see there are many utility scripts mentioned here. And for example, if I want to make use of this script, utility edit. So let me add a script. So you can add a script. You can add a script, and you can then start your experimentation. So suppose I want to add a script, I want to upload a script, so I can just choose the folder from where I want to upload this. So right now that Ubuntu is down, so I'm not able to access it. So anyway, I'll just choose the script and it will list here, and I can give a name to the script and I can give a script description, and then it will get listed over here. It will get listed over here. So this will be the script that I will upload from my folder, and then I can give a name for the script and I can give a description of the script as well. So if I want to edit the script, I can just click on this uh, edit button and you can see the script I can edit. So for example, if I want to edit this script and then make use of it in my notebook. So let me just make small changes and let me show you that it really is going to be giving me an error if I do not change the variable names in the notebook also. So I'll update this. This is updated now. I'll go to the notebook and I already have a notebook which is using this utility script. So this is that notebook. And you can see in the first cell itself, I would be importing the data from the utility edit v16 notebook. This was the script which I had shown you in the utility tab, and this script had a class person, so I'm importing that. So let me just import that quickly, and I'm creating an object p1. Now you would have noticed that in my script I had changed the variable names with a capital letter. So if I run this, it will give me an error. It will not run. So this goes on to show that my script has been picked up. So now I will change the names back, the variable names back to the correct ones, and you can see that as they are defined in the script, they are getting picked up correctly here, and I'm able to run this. So this is how I'm able to use the utility script as well. Apart from this, I'd just like to show you now the data profile option as well. And the data profile option is nothing but you can go to the data set here. And what you can do is you can go to any of the data set and you can just click on uh, this I button. So for example, if you want to go to this sample data set, or I don't know, you can go to this. So you can see that immediately the data profile came up and you have uh, all of these information listed here. And you can probably, this data set does not have much data, it seems. You can probably check this one. So you can see that all of the information about the variable types, a number of missing cells, and different variables, and all of this information that actually give you a quick insight about the health of the data. They are available, and you get a quick snapshot about the data also. So if you have a data set which is having a lot of data, then sometimes it takes a little while to bring up the profile of that data. And in this, the profile, you also get sample columns listed. So that's also something which is very cool because this gives you a very clear insight to how your data actually looks like. And based upon that, you can take a decision on what are the different pre-processing or data transformation steps that you want to undertake in order to prepare this data for your model. So this is a very healthy feature that we have introduced. So as to assist data scientists in their work for preparing data. So now you can see this data is already loaded and it gives you information about all the variables. and it will give you some visualizations also, and it also gives you sample data, first couple of rows, and you will also get the last rows also. The last rows also are there. So you get all of this information from the data profile option. So this is a very cool feature, and this is also very helpful for giving an immediate insight to data scientists about the health of a data set. And the other option that I am left to demo is the option of including GPU. So I can come to the admin section, and in the admin section, I can go to the configurations, and within configurations, I can go to notebook settings. And within notebook settings, you can see there is GPU support field. In this field, you can give this option. So to have NVIDIA GPU, or if you have AMD GPU, just mention it here and save it. And once you are done, you can come to your project. You come to DS Lab. You can come to the project in which you want to make use of the GPU machine. So probably this is the project uh, that I want to make use of the GPU. I can come here. So you can see the GPU type is none. I can select NVIDIA, and I can give the count as one machine of NVIDIA, and I can update this. So now this project is enabled with GPU. So any notebook that I am using with this project, and I'm doing the process for training computer vision or NLP or any such heavy weight use case, they will all be trained on GPU. So this is how easy it is to configure GPU. So right now I do not have any experimentation to show you to run GPU, but this is how you can immediately add GPU to your project. One last thing that I would like to demo quickly is the data transformation. And this data transformation is something that we had talked about. And let me show you here. Uh, so this is the data transformation I was speaking about. So many times, whatever data we get in the real world, we have to do certain pre-processing or transformation of that data in order to make it uh, palatable for the model. So this is a small experimentation. In fact, this is something which is not even related to some data set, but just some making some blogs, some imaginary numbers, and then trying to do some transformation on them. And you can see that I'm using min-max scaler here. So I am making use of min-max scaler as a pre-processing step, and I have transformed my trained data. Okay, and then I'll be using a logistic regression model, and I will fit this scaled data, which I created by transforming the trained data. So now what I can do is I can actually save this transformation. So how do I do that? I can click on I can click on so I can click on save model. So once I click on save model, I'll get a code like this. And what I can do is in the code that I get, I will just mention the model name. So here, what I need to keep in mind is that the model type should be DP. So if you remember in the previous webinar, we had mentioned that if you are saving machine learning models, you have to mention ML as the model type. If you are saving computer vision models, you will mention CV. And if you are saving NLP models, you will mention the model type as NLP. So since we are saving a data transformation or data pre-processing pickle file object, so this scalar is nothing but an object of this min max scalar class. So I'm saving this scalar over here, scalar object. So what I will do is I will give the name as DP because data we have kept it as data pre-processing, and I will give it some name here. I'll give it maybe scalar transform v2, and this is the name of the object. This is the data pre-processing object by the name of scalar, which I have already defined here. This is the object of the class min max scalar. So this is what I'm saving here. So once I'll run this, I'll just delete this and I'll run this. So once I have run this, you'll see that this pickle file, data pre-processing object pickle files by the name of scalar transform v2 will be listed here under transforms tab. So you can see if I go to unregistered. So you can see in the unregistered, it has scalar transform v2, which I saved just now. Okay, so now what I can do is I can also load it here. So I can load it here. I can just click on this and it gets loaded. So now once it is loaded, what I can do is I can now do transformation. So maybe I'll just comment this out. So my loaded object, loaded model variable contains the scalar transform v2 pickle object. And using that, I want to transform my test set. So you would recall that over here, I had transformed my training set. I had transformed my training set using the scalar.transform, and using the same scalar.transform, I can transform my test set. But this is by actually using the pickle file. So I'll just run this step and you can see the data is already transformed. Now what I can do is I can register this pickle file, the data pre-processing object pickle file. I can register to pipeline and it will now be listed in the list of registered pickle files or data pre-processing or data transformation pickle files. This will now be available in pipeline. So we can quickly go to pipeline and I'll show you that I have a pipeline ready for this, and this is known as data transform. So once I view this pipeline, the use case is simple. I'm ingesting data and I want to transform that data. That's it, using the data transformation object pickle file that I have. So how do I do this? So as I had shown you previously, I'll take this drag and drop component from the scripting. And what have I mentioned in the scripting? Again, the basic information is having real time as invocation type. And in the meta information, I'll just mention the data that I have to ingest. So this is the data that I am ingesting. And this data is there in the notebook as well. So I'm just doing that for experimentation purposes. And then I have an out event defined here. And then I have this DS lab runner. So this DS lab runner is nothing but what I had shown you previously, just drag and drop. And in the basic information, you can just give real time as invocation type. And in meta information is where you actually have to mention model runner. Now this is a model runner because this is a pickle file .pkl. So if you have a .pkl file or h5 file or pth file, so you always use model runner for that, and script runner you use for exporting the code from DS lab to pipeline. Again, the project is nothing project, but from where this notebook or this model has been exported. So model has been exported from project sales. This is the project. And the pickle file is right now I have used v2. So I can save this component and then I can update the pipeline and I can quickly run this. So I can quickly run this now. So now this will run and it will give the output in a little while. And uh, with that, I have actually come to the end of this demo. And the only thing left is secret management, and secret management is something that I have already shown you here. So uh, I have nothing to demo for that. Maybe this GIF is will be quite intuitive. So you can see that I'm actually trying to connect to PyMongo. I'm trying to connect to a Mongo client using PyMongo. So for the connecting to Mongo client, I have certain credentials where vis-a-vis the username and password and other details, the host name and all. So what I'm doing is instead of hard coding the host name, port name, username, password, and database name in my notebook, which can be a security hazard if I am actually sharing this notebook with other users who might not have the authority to use these credentials unless and until they get clearance from their management. So in order to avoid that, what we are doing is we are giving these secrets, these host name, port name, username, password, database, all of these details in the form of environment variables. And as you can see here, they can just be used in the code, and all of those details will just get populated and the connection can be made. So this is how simple it is, and this is a very robust security feature which we have enabled in order to protect the security credentials that are required in order to log into other databases. And with that, I'll just come here once and just uh, we'll just check quickly if it has completed its execution, and yes, it has completed the execution. So now this pipeline has completed its execution. So how will you verify this? So you can see this if you check in your notebook as well. So the test data is having certain values. So the test data is having certain values, you can see. And then after the transformation, the values will get changed. And this is how you can verify it here. So the values are changed now. So this pipeline has also completed its execution. So I'll stop this, I'll deactivate. And with that, I come to the conclusion of this presentation. And if there are any questions, the floor is open for any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Uh, Hi, Amir.
Hi.
Yeah. So, first of all, the presentation was really good. Also, the GIFs was really helpful to access DS Lab and follow up. And I have a doubt in my mind, which is, do you have any comparison metrics with the leading notebooks, in which I can see the comparison between DS Lab and other enterprise?
Uh, yes, in fact, we have that, and that can be available, from the pre-sales team. So as you can see, we have done a very detailed comparison of DS Lab with Notebook in Azure Machine Learning, the DS Lab with Azure Machine Learning, SageMaker, Data IQ, Data Robot, and Google Colab. So this is a very exhaustive list of comparison of features that we have. So yeah, this can be available from the pre-sales team.
Okay, Amir, I think, yeah, this will be helpful. I'll connect with pre-sales team. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question?
Yeah, hi Amir. I have one query. Like, how can we get access to DS Lab 2.0 for hands-on?
Uh, sure. So for accessing DS Lab 2.0, you can get in touch with the pre-sales team, and uh, they can guide you how to get access to DS Lab 2.0. And also, we are already working with a couple of cloud vendors to
Okay.
integrate this, and it will be available as a service as well. So the end user can register it and use it as well. So more details can be accessed by the from the pre-sales team.